Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for week 147 of Build Your Stash and Craft. This week we are going to make door knocker brads. After I did the brad video a few weeks back, one of the ladies came on and said, could I make a door knocker brad, which I hadn't heard of, and she sent me a picture. And so I figured it out, and they turned out pretty cool. They're really cute. I hadn't seen them before. So it was really a neat idea for me. And since then, she has figured out how to do them herself, but she said she wanted to see what I was doing anyways. And so here we go. Now, I do apologize for not remembering your name. I did write it down, and then I lost the piece of paper. So I am really terrible at that kind of thing and very forgetful. I'm no good with names, and that's my biggest problem. And so, again, I apologize, but thank you very much for the idea because I had fun with it, and I think they turned out really cool. So we're going to start out with a 1-inch circle punch or 7/8, or it doesn't really matter, just a smaller circle punch. And we're going to punch a circle out of fun foam. Now, the circle cutter that I got when we bought our punches for our series is a X cut, and it's very, very tight. So you have to have enough room on your fun foam to actually hold on to it and really pull on it a little bit to pull it into there. And whenever you're cutting something odd, like tissue paper or foam or something that's not paper or any kind of thin paper, if you put a piece of cardstock or regular paper behind it, that makes it easier to cut. Your punch will punch through it much better. So I'm going to just grab a hold of this and then I'm going to hold it against my stomach and just pull until I get it all the way in there and then give it a punch. So there we go. Get that out of there. And then don't forget, keep your circles because you can use those for lots of little things. And then what we're going to do is we are going to first coat it with a couple of coats of white. That's because I have orange fun foam. If you have white fun foam, you won't have to do that. But I have orange fun foam. And so the first thing you're going to do is 2 coats of white paint. Now, you don't need to necessarily see me do that. I have one here, and this has, or I have 2. They have 2 coats of white paint on them. And I'm going to show you how the metallic, this is Folk Art Metallic Inca Gold that I got at Walmart. I'm not super happy with it. And the thing is that a lot of your metallics are a little bit translucent, a little bit see-through. And this one is definitely a little bit see-through. So I'm going to show you how it covers. I have some here that are dry that have 3 coats on it, and that's enough to give it a nice gold color. And whenever you have to coat something that's kind of translucent, a little bit see-through, when you paint it the first time, paint it one way. And then when you paint it the second time after it's dry, paint it the opposite direction. And that will kind of fill in your paintbrush grooves, and it will also kind of level things out a little bit. It will give you a much better coverage if you do that. So I went this way this time. Next time, I would go this way. And I did the same thing with my white paint. But this is how much coverage we have so far. So it took 3 coats to get that gold to cover even on white. And on the orange, it didn't want to really cover at all. I think this is 2 coats, and it's not very covered. That even actually might be 3 coats with the orange before I put the white on it. And, whoops, I don't want that. I want my nail polish. So I'm going to do one with nail polish too. And the nail polish also takes a couple coats. Now, the nail polish I tried on the orange, and it did the same thing. It's a little bit translucent, so it didn't cover as well with just 1 coat. But I believe that I had 2 coats of the nail polish to get a really nice cover. And I would do the same thing with the nail polish, 1 coat one way and 1 coat the other. And there we go. I don't want it to be too thick or it'll just never dry. So, but already the nail polish has covered much better than the paint has. So, but the paint still works good, and that's what we're going to do today. So I have 2 here that are covered with 3 coats of the gold paint. So once you get your circles painted, now you could do this with paper, but to get that kind of door knocker look, this has been painted so many times with all the coats of gesso and then the coats of gold, it's just wanting to really stick. Let's see, do I have some little scissors here? Oh, I don't know what I did. Oh, here's a pair of scissors. I'm going to cut this off instead of peeling it off, because otherwise it might leave a great big orange mark. And just kind of press it down. Because it's acrylic paint, it does kind of mold down halfway decent. So there we go. Now we've got a nice circle. And we'll do the other one too. These are both gold paint. Oops. See, I peeled that off and the orange is showing now on the side. But it is what it is. I can always cover it up later. Just put a little bit more paint on it. And now you know what it looks like when I said it might peel off of there. So there we go. So all you need is a gold circle or whatever color circle that you want to have. And then we're going to have the wire that we bought. We're going to take just a little piece, about 1 inch to 1.25 inches. Just enough. You don't really even need that much, but you want enough so that when you're holding on to it, you don't hit your finger with the hammer. And then what you're going to do is take your whatever you call this, cutting board. And then you're going to, if you bought this hammer, this is a magnetic side. I wonder if it must be aluminum. Take the flat side of your hammer, and you're going to put your cutting board on the floor. And then just tap, tap, tap until you flatten it out on this top side. Now you can flip it over and flatten it out on both sides. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to do it on here because the whole table will shake and you don't want to hit that hard on your table anyway. So it's better off to sit your cutting board on the floor so you don't ruin your floor, and then hit your wire with the hammer until it goes flat. And then you're going to wind up with a piece of wire that looks like this. So it is flat on the top side, and it's still a little bit rounded on the back. Like I said, if you want, you can go ahead and flatten that out, but it doesn't really matter. It's pretty flat. And you're not going to get it super thin. If you had a bigger hammer and hit it really, really hard, you could get it super thin. I was surprised at how strong this wire was. So now we've got our circle, and we've got a little flat piece of wire. And then we are going to need a pen or a pencil to wrap the wire around to get our little knocker part. So I'm going to take another piece of wire and straighten it out because you don't really want it to have kinks in it. And then I'm going to wrap around my pen, and I'm going to wrap past so that I have a really nice circle. So I wrapped all the way around that pen to give me a good circle, and that's pretty good. And then we'll just nip this wire right where the two come together, where they cross, nip off a piece on that side. Always hold on to your wire, and then we're going to kind of butt right up to that. Just going right up to where that one's cut, and cut this side. Just like that. You want to make sure that you want to make sure that the gap is in the same spot with both of them, so you can just make it tight like that. You don't want to have to bend it in and out, or it will really lose its shape. So now we've got our circle for our knocker. And then we're just going to take our flattened wire and bend it like this. And we're going to put that right on our knocker, right at that point where we had cut it. Just like this. Right there. Then I'm going to take my flat pliers. And we've got this sticking out like this, and then I'm going to come right up by the wire And I'm just going to squish those together. So now we have, and you want to make sure that you don't like get super close to the circle, because you do want it to still move a little bit, but you want to get fairly close because you're going to put this through and you don't want it to stick out too far. So now we've got that point, and then we're just going to take one of our circles, and the one that she showed me, it had lines on it. So in order to get the lines, I just used an old plastic card, and and you can eyeball it or you can measure it if you want to. And I just pushed down and kind of went across here and pushed down. So I'm just kind of dividing it up like 8 pieces of pie. And that's just because that's the way that those looked, but you don't have to have it like that either. So there we go. And then I kind of pinched the edges a little bit to kind of flatten them down a little bit. Now the ones that I saw that she had sent me the picture, they were a little bit domed. And if you want this domed, you could put a little bit of tissue behind this and then press it down around the tissue when you put it on your project. You could glue that on there if you want to, so that it's already there when you go to put it on a project. I don't think that it really needs it. I think that being flat is just fine. And then we are going to take one of our pokey tools and our poking mat, and we're just going to poke a hole in the middle. And these are our pokey tools. This is a just screwdriver, little tiny screwdriver set that we got at the Dollar Tree, and we're just going to poke a hole in the middle. And then what I like to do, because I want that hole to be bigger, is just kind of make the hole a little bit bigger. Then we're going to take our brad part and put it right through the center of our little knocker there. And there we go. There's our knocker. And then you just take a piece of paper, and put it through there. Make sure when you put it on that you have it right side up. And then you just take your wire, just like any other brad, just flatten it out. And there we go. There is our little door knocker, which isn't straight. Turn it around just a little bit. There. And there's our little door knocker. I think they turned out cute. So, and then if you don't like the bright gold, what you can do now, when I painted the remember how I said that the nail polish covers better than the paint? It does. But the nail polish one, when I bent it, it cracked. So what I did was I just scrunched it all up, just bent it all up, and then I put a little bit of black paint on top and wiped it off, so that, you know, we got the look of that old, aged, grungy look. And so what you can do with that one is just kind of grunge up your gold wire a little bit. Now, the one that I've already flattened, you know, it's got a roughness to it that I think the black paint will stick to. We're going to see, because I'm not really positive. Just going to put a little bit on a napkin, just barely any. I'm going to put it on here because I don't want to get that black paint all over my pretty paper. Okay, I don't know if you can see this or not, but this is the side that was down on the cutting board. and it still has a lot of the gloss to it. This is the side that we actually hit with a hammer. And I don't know if you can see, but here's where I put the black paint and here is not. So it doesn't turn it all black, but it does grunge it up where it's brighter over here and darker over here. So the black paint will work to grunge up the wire a little bit. And whenever you do something like this, the faster you wipe it off, the more of the black that you get off, and then you get the darker black in the crevices. So now we have a grungy circle and a grungy brad portion. And then we will take a piece of our wire. Here's our pen right here. Let's see if I can make this one a little bit rounder than the last one. Wrap it around there and really kind of try and give it a press, because the other one was had a little bit of a crooked spot to it. That's better. Okay, so I'm going to cut this one right across from where the two come together. And then cut this one. You want to turn the side of your cutter that's going to cut, you want to turn that towards where you want it to cut, because then you can really judge and line it up with the piece you've already cut so that you cut them right by each other. Because like I said, you want them to be able, if they won't do this, then go back in. If they won't just bend back together, go back in and just trim a little bit more off. Don't peel them out even a little bit. We'll get your round off round. And this one turned out nice and round. Now, the thing is that we already saw that on this side, the gold really didn't want to take any black to it because it still had the gold cover on it. So to make it look old, we can just take our pliers. Now, are these smooth? These are smooth pliers, but if you had the ones with the ridges in them, you could, those would really work good to scratch it up just a little bit. But I'm just kind of rubbing it around the wire. I'm not holding really hard because I don't want to bend my circle out of shape. And I'm just kind of rubbing some of that gold off. There we go. Just so that when we put some black on it, it will have a place where it wants to stick. Ooh, definitely too much. And there we go. Now we've got that grunged up. So all of our pieces are grunged up. And we can put it together. We're just going to find the middle pretty much. Fold that in half. And once you get it put together, if you don't like how long your tails are, at that point, after it's all together, you can nip those off one piece at a time. Because unless you've got really heavy duty cutters, they're not going to want to cut through both pieces at the same time. And then we're going to take our little ring, put it on there right where it comes together. Yep, we've got a little bit of movement there. And then just put that through the hole in the middle of this one. Oh, put it on a piece of paper. Bend our little legs out, and there we go. And these are a really heavy duty brad too, because that wire is nice and heavy duty. So you've got a really pretty gold brand new one, and then you've got a nice distressed old looking knocker also. And you can do this, you can do it in coppers and use some turquoise or teal to kind of make it look like it's, I lost it, but you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, you can patina. You can put a little patina. Sorry about that little interruption. Okay, so here we go. This is my original template that I made, or my original, and we got a little bit of bleached paper down here from last week's video, but that's what the door knockers look like. And you don't even actually, you don't have to paint this if you can find some of the fun foam in colors that you want. If you don't have fun foam, you could do it with a bit of chipboard or cardboard, something that's just a little bit thicker to make it, to really give it that stand off the door type thing. But I think they turned out cute. I really like the distressed one. Bright golds are not my thing. I like coppers, but yeah, so that's what they turned out like. I hope that you enjoyed that video, and they're really super simple to do. And so that is our project for today. And for what we're going to need for next week is, we are going to need 2 of these table runners from the Dollar Tree, and they're just, it says that they're 72 inches long and 12 inches wide. And so I got a red one and a tan one, and we'll need 2. You can get the same color or 2 colors, and we will need 2 sets of lights. I got one in red and one in clear. So we're going to spend $4 on next week's project, so that'll put another $1 in our bank. But I hope that you enjoyed this video today. I really do appreciate you stopping by. Thank you very much. And I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.